This is amazing. Hidden Oasis. I think it's stuck. I'm going to try and help it. Oh no. Oh, it's out. It's done it itself, thank God. Good morning. So I'm back at the Little Don or Porter River, back where I was last week. This week I want to check out a few places and walk a few places that I've wanted to walk for some time. I don't know how recent this is or whether it was deliberate, a deliberate burn or not, but it's quite a blackened landscape now. This is the point where the Mickleden Brook joins the Little Don or Porter River. And I've never actually been here before. I've seen this from up there. And I've kind of looked down towards this area from over there on the cut gate path. But I've never actually been down to here before. I've looked down to this brook many times whilst going up the cut gate path, and I've always wanted to actually follow this Cluff up. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. Clearly used by sheep. Nice little shelter. At the moment, I'm just kind of meandering my way up, much as the brook meanders its way down. It's quite a wide lower valley here. I've had to cross 5 times so far because it just keeps curving around. There's all kinds of like little bits like that, tucked away out of sight. This stream is fed by multiple springs, and the area around it has had multiple landslips. I think this is one here. I'm not sure what's going to happen with the weather today. Yesterday it was supposed to be warmer than the Algarve in certain parts of the UK. I don't think it was that warm in Derbyshire. It was pretty windy yesterday. Today's supposed to be very, very windy. And the feel-like temperature today is barely above 0. There are people on the Cutgate path. I've stopped at that particular spot many times myself. In fact, a lot of people have, I'm sure. I do want to check out what that is. I saw that marked on the map. It doesn't look like it's anything particularly interesting, but we'll go and have a look. So this is marked on the map, and I wondered what it was. I did look at the older maps and it wasn't featured on them. This is very strange. If you have any ideas, please put it in the comments below. I'm guessing there was something here, possibly a rain gorge or something like that, and these posts had wire to kind of keep people and animals away from the equipment. That's my guess. Okay, so there is a faint trail that goes from that other spot with the posts, and I've just followed it and I've got to this, which looks like a mini version of whatever once was there. You've got 3 posts and wire, and then you've got this. So is it a rain gorge? But how would the rain get inside? Again, please, someone out there must know what this is. Please post the answers in the comments. I suspect some kind of rain gorge. Although I don't know how it's supposed to work with a lid on top. I'm going to continue to follow the stream up through this nice little bit of woodland, but there's something of significance I want to point out right now, because it will be relevant later. So you can see where a tiny trickle of water is coming down from up there, where there's clearly been a landslide, and there's also clearly a spring. We will be going up there and having a look at something up there of interest later on in the walk. I've changed my mind. I'm actually going to follow this tiny little trickle up. I was going to save that to later on, but I think it'll be quite fun following the trickle up to the source. This is where it comes out and joins the brook. So let's follow this up to the source. Okay, I've changed my mind again. I'm about halfway to where I want to get to, but I'm just going to go back down, because if I go all the way up, it's going to mess up my circular route. So I'll save that for later on in the walk. But remember this, because it will become relevant later. Back now, following Mickleden Brook up through this beautiful bit of woodland. Unfortunately, there is evidence of idiots having been here. We've got what looks like an old fire pit with it. Someone's then put a load of wood in and been completely unsuccessful in burning it. But we've got litter. Why would you take the time to come somewhere remote like this, somewhere beautiful like this, and then ruin it by leaving your litter? All of these side streams are fed by springs. This really is a beautiful location. So close to the cut gate path, which is just up there, and yet I don't think many people come here at all. I've never been here before. This walk isn't a particularly long walk, or I don't think it's going to be a very long walk, but I'm just taking my time and enjoying this. This is beautiful. Some of these pools are incredibly deep. And that's literally how close we are to the path. What an incredible spot. So Mickleden, the name Mickleden is derived from the Old Norse for great and the Old English for valley. So it literally means great valley in a combination of Old English and Old Norse. You know, the Vikings would have come here and they clearly appreciated it. Look at it. I think that water's really deep. You can tell after really heavy rain, the water cascades over all of this. That must be an amazing sight. So here the stream has been channeled into a really narrow gap between the rocks, and it's just cascading down there. That very dark water there is very deep, I believe. This is amazing. I don't think I can really do it justice with the phone. I don't think any camera can do it justice. Just imagine when there's been a lot of rain and all that water's been channeled through that really, really tight space. I mean, here you can see where it sometimes overflows. So there is the top of the little tight gap in the rocks where we've just been at the bottom. I don't think my phone, my camera is doing justice to this location. I suspected that this was impressive, but I had no idea it was quite as dramatic and beautiful as it actually is. You can hear this from the cut gate path, but you can't see any of this here. It's like a mini chasm in the Peak District. A mini chasm that no one seems to know about. So it definitely feels now that there's been a change in the landscape. Things seem to be leveling off a little bit. The path has come back into view. Or more precisely, the people on the path have come back into view. We're pretty much topping out now, or will be very soon. As I mentioned earlier, this is fed by numerous little springs. And we're starting to get to the point now where those springs are feeding the stream. Another one of those mystery items, looks exactly like the other one. So not far up ahead is Lost Lad. Not the main Lost Lad, but the other one, or one of the other ones. And at that point, the cut gate path and this stream pretty much join together at the same level. So I'm not really interested in going up at that point. Well, it's just come out of nowhere and it's cold. I mean, the temperature keeps changing. 1 second you're in the sunshine and it's really warm and lovely. The next second that wind picks up and it's freezing. I need to find somewhere to have my lunch, preferably out of this wind. There's been a steady stream of people coming up the cut gate path. I've just been sat here having my lunch. It's lovely when the wind isn't up. But yeah, there's no point really going much further or any further, because it eventually this stream and the path converge just pretty much at the point where Lost Lad is, which is just up there. So what I'm going to do instead is I might try and find a couple of these springs, and then I'm going to circle back kind of this side and go to the spot that that I was going to show you this morning. Well, I wasn't going to show you, and then I decided to show you, and then I changed my mind again. We'll go to that spot. Right, I'm on the right contour, so I just need to contour around to get to where I want to be. This was a good idea in theory, but walking on this is not easy. I found a sheep trod slightly further up from where I wanted to be, but a lot easier to follow. According to the map, I'm pretty much on top of one of these springs. You can see it's very marshy. I'd say that's the spring there. Well, you can see that this is where the springs rise up, or some of the springs rise up. Just need to be very careful where you put your feet. There's a spring just there. I'm not going to try and get any closer. Where I'm headed for should be just around here. And this is it. So a combination of landslides and springs has caused the formation of this, which is called Mickleden Pond. Here we have Mickleden Pond, a very rarely visited hidden oasis of tranquility. You can see all these little mini gullies where water drains down into this dip in the ground left by landslides and has formed this tiny little pond. And it was a stream of water draining out of this pond that we started following earlier. I think it comes out this side here. What a beautiful spot, especially in the sunshine. Here you can see where the water drains out, and it was that we were following up earlier. The Peak District's hidden oasis. Okay, there's Mickleden Ponds. This is the tiny trickle of water that runs out of the ponds and goes all the way down into Mickleden Brook. This is what we started to follow up earlier today. Rather than going back the way I came, I'm going to try something different and head this way. That there is Bradshaw Hill. This is the top of Bradshaw Cluff, and it does go all the way down into the Little Don Valley, just along from where the Mickleden stream comes into the Little Don. So I was thinking of trying to come down this way. I'm on the summit of Bradshaw Hill. That's Mickleden Cluff. That's Bradshaw Cluff. Here is the Porter, or the Little Don Valley, which will be familiar to those of you who've seen last week's video. And that's where I came up over there. So what I'm thinking is go down via Bradshaw Cluff. This is Bradshaw Cluff, looking very muddy, very boggy, very wet. So I think rather than go into it at this point, I'm just going to walk along the side of it. What a view! There's the old sheepfold, the castellated sheepfold. Over to this side is an unnamed Cluff, and then this is Bradshaw Cluff. So where I'm going to head out, where I'm going to end up, is those little small Cluffs that I mentioned in my last video, that I said they look very shallow and may be interesting, but only very tiny waterfalls. I'm not sure which one is the better one to walk along, so I'm kind of walking in between the two at the moment. I'm going to stick with Bradshaw Cluff because it's the one that's got a name, and it's the one that I was originally following. So we'll stick with this one. There's really not a great deal to see at the moment. One of the major waterfalls in Bradshaw Cluff. I mean, it's fairly pretty, I suppose. And the views are great. This is the opposite view of the one I had last week. I love the views from over here. I found an actual proper path. I have no real plan to get back, just some rough ideas, and I keep changing them based on the circumstances. So finding that path made me decide to come back this way after all. Path suddenly, abruptly comes to an end though. I mean, I can get down there, that's not an issue, but it's quite interesting. Looks like there's been some kind of landslide maybe. Yeah, plenty of evidence of landslides. Luckily the water level is low and I can easily jump across. That's where the bottom of Bradshaw Cluff comes out. Not worth it. Not worth it. At least not when there's as little water flowing as there is at the moment. Maybe if there was more water flowing, more waterfalls, it'd be worth it. But it's been really dry recently. And there's really not much water flowing at all. Some little rock overhangs here. This is a very small skull. That's my boot in comparison, so it's a little baby. Back at the confluence between Mickleden Brook and the Porter or Little Don, there's a duck. The difference between this morning and now is that I'm on the other side of the Little Don River. Right now the loop is complete. I'm so hot. I got it completely wrong last week and I've got it completely wrong again this week. It's so difficult at this time of year to know what the weather's going to be like and to know what to wear. The forecast with the wind chill factor was for barely above freezing. In fact, for this morning it was below freezing with the wind chill, and I think the high was like 3-4 degrees. But actually in the sunshine, when you're out of the winds, it's been really warm and I'm really too hot. But then the sun will go in, the wind will pick up and you'll suddenly feel cold again. There are a lot of people around Langsett Reservoir by the looks of it, and with the weather like it is, you can't blame them. I just wish the forecast hadn't been so wrong, because I've been way overdressed for my walk, for most of it anyway. There have been times where I've been grateful for my layers, but for the most part I've been way overdressed. Certainly right now I'm way overdressed. Now I'm down near the bottom, near the reservoir, in the relative shelter, out of the wind. Well, I'm coming up to the end of the walk now. Only a few minutes before I get back to the car. You can hear the road already. I enjoyed today's walk. It was a little bit short, maybe, but I did enjoy it. It was good to walk Mickleden. I can see why it got its name. It may be small in scale, but it's very impressive. And I also really liked Mickleden Pond. Very secluded, beautiful spot that I'm sure very few people have been to. Anyway, if you did enjoy that, please subscribe if you're not already. Please give me a thumbs up, maybe even put a comment. Yeah, let me know as well in the comments what you think those strange things were. I think they might be something to do with rain gorges, but I don't know how they would work with the lids on. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.